Just to give you like a little bit of background on how I got to what I'm doing now, I didn't know when I was an arts and science student, when I was in school, what I wanted to do. But I spent 2 years in Bloomington after I graduated, and I worked in the admissions office, and I worked in the School of Music in admissions. I'd been in admissions, like a tour guide, and I'd done student work. So I did both of those roles. I took some grad classes. And when I got back to New York, my first job, I'm from New York originally, my first job out of college, sort of after leaving Bloomington, was working at NYU in their admissions office. And that was sort of a natural progression from what I was doing here, and I really liked it. So that was how I went that route. But the way I actually kind of switched gears from there is I really liked recruiting, and I liked what I was doing at NYU, and I ended up, through really talking to friends and talking to different people who worked in lots of different industries, ended up hearing about like a friend who worked at another bank, I think it was JP Morgan at the time, and he was doing like associate recruiting from MBA schools, and he had worked in admissions with me, and so he had said, oh, you can use a lot of the same skills, et cetera, et cetera. So I ended up through like a variety of different people and networks having different interviews, and ended up at Goldman, where I was like literally Googling at the time Goldman to figure out what they did, and I was reading their career website and reading the profiles of different students to understand what they even did. So I was really starting from scratch. But I think what I like just underscore with that example, and in all of the things you mentioned, I wouldn't underestimate that you're networking and speaking to alums and speaking to people you know in your communities, at home, in school, the resources you have on campus, because as somebody had said, like, how do you even, as a chemistry major, like, how do you even know what's out there? Like, without talking to people, you wouldn't, right? You wouldn't know. And so I have friends from IU, from arts and science, like my friend Rob, who graduated with me, was a computer science major. He did like a tech route when he graduated. Then he ended up, from that, he went to a bank. He was doing technology at Morgan Stanley. And he wasn't, again, knew nothing about finance. And now he's at Amazon.com, which I guess makes kind of sense for tech. People move all over. I have another friend I work with, John Ehrlich, who was here. He's probably maybe graduated in the 2000s sometimes. He's younger than me. He works with me in HR. He was a telecom major. Worked in ad sales when he graduated. That translated into ended up getting a job in recruiting, and then it moved into what we do. I didn't mention I do, but like HR generalist. So I work with people, like onboarding people and like helping develop their careers while they're at Goldman until they leave. So